Hello, my name is Sierra. I am making this video to show some people how to use Audacity for podcasting in the most basic ways. There are probably ways to do it easier, but that take a little more learning, and I don't have time for learning new things. So I'm in school, I'm a mom, I work, and I host a podcast. I've been podcasting for a year and a half. I started with a true crime podcast called Basic Murder Babes that I did with my best friend in Alabama. Eventually, she was no longer able to do that, so I switched over to a different podcast called Twisted and Uncorked, still true crime, and I do that with my best friend in Canada. So I've been editing for, like I said, a year and a half, and I basically taught myself to use Audacity. I did also watch a couple YouTube videos, sorry if you hear my dog, that I can't find anymore. And everything seems to be changing. So I am just here. I've had a couple friends ask about this. I'm here to show you the most basic ways to use Audacity. So I am going to share my screen and get started. All right, so this is what Audacity is going to look like. It still says Audacity Audio Editor here, but when you pull it up, it is considered to be called Audiotonic now, which is weird. I don't know why they changed the name of it, but whatever the reason, you can look up on Google either Audacity or Audiotonic and find this logo. It is a free download. So when you start recording, obviously, you hit the red record button. I use a Blue Yeti microphone. And this here, where this microphone is going to tell you which microphone is being recorded. So the sound mapper input is actually a way to record things that your computer is hearing. So if there's, for example, if you're doing a true crime story and you want to use the 911 call or news coverage audio clip, you can record it by pressing this and then pressing the record button while the audio is playing on your computer, like from YouTube or whatever, and it's going to record that sound. The stereo mix, honestly, I'm not sure what that one is. I've never used it. The microphone array is the computer microphone, and yours might say something else. I just know that input means what's coming into the computer. And then this one for my computer, which is an HP, is the computer's microphone, which is a little teeny tiny hole in the side of the computer, and it sounds awful. So every time before you start recording, make sure you have the microphone chosen that you want to use. And for me, it's my USB microphone. This is the one that my Blue Yeti that I plug in through the USB. There have been times when I have recorded on the microphone array and it sounded awful. There have been times when I've accidentally recorded on the sound mapper and it literally only records my co-host who I'm listening to while we do the podcast together. So that one will not be helpful. There's two different ways you can do it. You can do the one channel or two channel. The two channel means that there's a side for left and right ear when they're listening. And I don't know why, but my computer just automatically always goes to two. There's no reason for it. In my opinion, one is easier. It's simple. It's just both sides at once. But I always record on two just because I never change that. So when I do my recording, this is what mine looks like. This is the left and the right side of the people listening, their headphones. And it's, it's the same noise on each side, but I guess if I wanted to, I could, make it more on the left or more on the right. It's silly to me. It's much easier to just use the mono, which is what my co-host uses. This is her sound and it's all one line and it's really simple that way. So another thing that I wanted to show you on here is, let me record real quick and I'll show you. All right, so right now it's recording my voice. I can get too close to the microphone and you'll see that the lines come up really far. And then I can get far away from the microphone and you see that the lines are much shorter. So obviously it's recording my sound. If I did this and it was a fluke, I didn't mean to get away from the microphone on this part here, then I can go to effects and I can amplify it. And I never change what this says. I always just press OK. And you can see that the bubbles here got bigger. And then I can undo that and they go back to small. If this part was a fluke and I wasn't supposed to be this close, then I can go to Effects and Normalize. And when I normalize it, again, just press OK, and it kind of goes off of everything else and makes it all the same. So you can see that these noise bubbles are about the same size as these ones now. Let me see. All right, so when you go to save this, you want to go to File and Export. If you do Save Project, then you know it saves as an Audacity/Audiotonic file. No matter what, it's always going to save into a folder called Audiotonic. But Save Project doesn't work well, because when you save project, it means that is the project that you're working on right now. And if you record another episode later and you hadn't finished with that one, and you try to save a new project, it's going to replace. You can't save more than one project, and you also can't merge the two together, which is really important when you have a two-person podcast, when those two people are in two different places as well. So you always want to export, and exporting as an MP3 file is going to be the best way to have a smaller file. So exporting it as a WAV or as a MP4, things like that, the file is going to be larger when you upload it to your host site. And some host sites only allow a certain size, and it might be too big to upload. So you always want to export as an MP3. And then if you want to, once you're ready to, you've got your recording, you're ready to go, you're about to edit your podcast. So like I said before, this is my recording and this is her recording. So the way that we do it is we each have our own microphones, and we each have headphones. And when I plug my headphones in, I can hear her talking, but my microphone can't hear her talking. My microphone only records me talking, and her microphone only records her talking. So then we send them to each other, whoever's going to do the editing that week, and we merge them together. I have two separate files here just because I wanted to show you the difference, but I did also make a file with both of ours merged. So this one's mine, and again, mine's bigger because I did the 2 stereo, hers is smaller because she did the mono. It doesn't matter, it's fine. It works. You can see that my file is shorter than her file. That's just because she pressed stop recording after I pressed stop recording. So that's another big thing that you have to worry about is you're not always going to press record and press stop record at the same time. So you really have to listen to it when you're editing. In the beginning of all of our episodes, when we start recording, let me undo this so I can show you. That was just me pressing Control X, by the way. When you start recording, if this works, sorry, I have too many files open. We always do our recording starting with a clap. And that is because there we go. That is because the clap makes a really long line like this. Now I can see exactly where I clapped right here, and it's easier for us to put them together on when we put our two sounds together. So this is mine and this is hers, and I'm going to zoom in. You can use the zoom in button right here. I just do this motion on my keypad and it zooms in for me. So if you see it suddenly moving in, that's what I'm doing. And I'm zooming in until I get seconds. I like to see 1, 2, 3. I like to see the exact seconds. And her clap and my clap always look a little different, but I know that because we've been doing it for a while. This right here is my clap. This right here is her clap. So I want these to be exactly the same. I'm going to highlight only her audio and then click Control X, which you can also use this cut button here, until our claps are over top of each other like that. And that way I know that we're starting at the same time. And then after we clap, we usually talk and laugh about how her clap doesn't look good. And this is where the story actually starts. So now that I know that our sounds are lined up, I can get rid of all of this stuff before because our podcast episode doesn't actually start until here. And to do that, instead of just highlighting hers, I scroll up and I highlight all of it. So I know everything from this point back is being taken away. And then I press the X. This is where the story starts. And as I go through, you can see that when she stops talking, I start talking. Sometimes we talk over each other, but not too often. She stops, I start. A lot of times we have this little tiny bubbles here in the background, and that's just background noise. Background noise isn't a bad thing to have when we're both silent. So like right here, I would not ever edit out this background noise, because if you did, and then we came back in with talking, you would hear that difference in no background noise versus background noise. And it sounds awful. It sounds choppy. You don't want to do that. So for if I'm talking, then I know that I have my background noise there. I can edit out hers. So if she was moving around or breathing a little too close to the mic right here, I can edit out this background noise by pressing this button here, and it shows that on this side there's noise, on this side there's noise, but the part that I've highlighted in the middle is going to be silent. I click that and it makes this completely silent. And then again, as you go through, as you're listening, you know, maybe I was moving around a little bit right here, I'll silent that. Maybe in here, we didn't mean to say all of this, so I'll just cut that out. And then, oh no, that's not the part I was supposed to cut out. I can go to edit, undo, cut. One thing that's important about doing Audacity on your computer yourself is every time you do a cut or you do a silence, it saves it. So I can undo the silence, I can undo the silence again. So while you're doing this, your computer is saving every previous thing that you just did. And because it's saving that, it takes a lot of storage space. So if you have a computer that only has like, 5 gigabyte or whatever it is, I'm not good with computers, of storage, then it's going to get full really fast. And of course, you can go into your settings eventually and clear those, but while you're editing, that's all going to be there. So you really do need to have a good amount of storage space to be able to use Audacity. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So let's say that I wanted to, right here, we were talking and we were like, we're going to take a break to hear a word from our sponsors. And we're going to talk about, whatever advertisement that we were hired to do. So I know that it's going to go right here. And usually when we say we're going to take a break, we start talking and we just leave a bit that I can cut out. And what I do with it is both sides of it, I silence it just so I know where it is. And when I see that silence, I'm going to know, okay, that's the part where we put on our ad. And then I can go to import and I can bring in the advertisement as a completely separate file. And it takes a little bit to upload, but here we go. This is our advertisement. So let me go back into where that silence was, which is right here. And all right, this is my silence. This down here is my advertisement. So I'm going to click on the side, so it's highlighting my entire advertisement, and I'm going to click Control-C, which is copy, or you can press this button here, which is copy. And I am going to insert it into the spot where my advertisement goes, which was here. I'm going to highlight both sides so that it goes all over the entire thing, and I'm going to press Control-V or paste, which is this button here. And it just put my advertisement inside. And it's, all these different files. But after you export this and save it as one file, it's all going to merge anyway. So now my advertisement is in the middle of my file. And I can delete this one. All right, and then I'm going to zoom out, which again, you can use with this button here or this weird motion with my keypad. Oops, I zoomed out too much. And I'm going to show you how I add in the intros and outros. So I'm going to import my intro. And my intro is just this little teeny tiny bit, but I don't want it to, you know, let me exit this so you can see here. I want it to start before we start talking, right? So what I like to do, and again, there's probably an easier way to do this that requires a lot of learning that I don't want to do. So I do it this way. I copy down here on this space, just blankness. I copy it and I paste it before her side, the very beginning, and before my side at the very beginning, so it's the same size. And then I cut some off just enough so that it goes into the intro there. So I can see right here that the intro ends here, and I kind of like to talk a little bit over my intro. I like it to fade in, so I'm going to take this much off so that it overlaps just a little, and then on my intro, I'm going to highlight it and go to Effect, Fade In. Oops, I'm sorry. Did I press the wrong one? Oh, Fade Out. Let me undo those. Fade out because I want the noise to fade out. It starts out loud, and then as I start talking, it starts to get lower. And then zooming out, I'm going to do the same thing at the end. By the time you're done editing, you'll probably notice that, we don't stop at the same time, so there's a little extra. A lot of this will start to scoot over, but since it hasn't yet, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. And then I'm going to import my outro. And this one is a little bit more difficult because now with my outro down here, I have to highlight a bunch of this and put it before the outro so that the outro moves down that way. And it's still not there yet, so I'm going to highlight a little bit more of nothing, copy it and paste it. One more time, paste it. And then I can zoom in and see exactly where I need it to go. And again, I like for my outro to be a little bit over us talking. So I'll do it about here. Then I'm going to cut this out so it moves it back over a little bit here. And then with my outro, this is the one that's going to fade in because I want the sound to start off not being there and then get louder as the episode ends. And again, when you're editing, you can go through and take stuff out. If you do the intro and outro before you start editing, make sure you edit the entire thing. So for instance, if I was to edit this part out, it wouldn't move my outro and my outro would be stuck down there. So you have to go through all of the fields to make sure when I edit it out, my outro moves over with the rest of the music. Let me think if there's anything else that I need to tell you. Just looking at all the buttons up here. Most of them I don't use. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. That should be, it's just the basics of how to edit your podcast really quickly if you're starting out. If you learn more things in the future that are easy, that's cool. I've been doing this for a year and a half, and these are the only buttons I use. So it's not that hard. As long as your microphone is set to the right one here, and you're doing, you're not too close, you're not too far away. As long as you're at 6 inches from your microphone is set here to the correct microphone. And then also this one here, I never put this at 100. I almost always leave it at 70. And that's just because I don't want the bubbles to be too loud. I don't want it to hurt people's ears. So I almost always leave the bubble at 70. This one doesn't really matter because I don't listen to myself talk while I'm recording. I listen to my co-host talk while I'm recording. But yeah, other than that, this is all you need as long as your sound in your microphone is good enough. Again, if you get too close or get too far away, you can fix it there. But I'm not in the business to be editing your voice to sound deeper or higher pitched or editing out background noise in a way like while you're talking. So while you're talking, if something happens in the background, you can't I can't take that out because I want my voice in there. So usually if we are talking and something happens, like my dog barks, then I will, pause, wait for my dog to stop barking, and then repeat what I just said so I have a clear sound of that clip that I can cut out the part when I was talking and the dog was barking. But yeah, if you do it that way, it is super simple to edit. And then when you do export it, all of this together, export as an MP3, it takes forever. I'm just going to put YouTube, save it. And it says your tracks will be mixed down and exported as one stereo file. So what that means is all of this is going to merge into just one line. And that's fine. It takes so long, and maybe that's just my computer, but it's ridiculous how long it takes to import and export things. Just give it time. It's free. You know what I mean? Like, you get what you pay for. Sometimes it'll even say not responding, and I just sit there and wait, and eventually it comes back up. Audacity isn't perfect, but it's easy and it's helpful. Okay. Once it goes like this, that means that it's done. The file went away, and then I can open a new file, which is going to take just as long. And like I said, this is a folder that I made just for this, but because I just saved that, it automatically saves to the Audiotonic folder, which is right here, and it is YouTube. All right, so this is what I mean by it kind of takes a while and it makes it seem like it's not going to work. But if I just click, see how it says not responding now? It will. You just got to give it a minute. Audacity does this sometimes. Maybe not for other people, maybe it's my computer, I don't know. But so, it happens for me. Sorry, I keep looking down because that's where I am on the screen. I'm sure you can see that. Well, let me move me up here so I don't look down all the time. Okay, now it's popped up. Took a little while, but that's okay. This was just an example. I actually used the intro outro music from the Basic Murder Babes podcast with an episode that I was editing for the Twisted and Uncorked podcast. So this is not at all an actual episode, but I do want to let you hear how it sounds. Because right here you can see this is where my intro music was, and then this is where we start talking. So the intro music starts here. And then it'll start to fade out and you'll hear us start to talk, but with music in the background still.
So I feel kind of bad. I should have warned Sierra a little bit.
And that's how the episode is. I have my volume turned up really loud, so sorry for that. And then somewhere in here, I believe right here was where we did the sponsored ad, and I didn't actually check and see if that's where we were supposed to put a sponsored ad, but this is us talking, and then
they were 12 and
maybe it was right here.
I think I have the population of it. Really small. No, I don't. On a map. Yes.
Here we go.
I'm recording on Audacity.
This was me telling her that I was getting ready to start the ad.
Okay, I was like, what am I saying?
And then this is the ad.
Why am I?
Sorry. Anyway, I put the ad in there and we're still in there talking and it's all there. Same for the outro. You can see right here, it gets big and this is us saying goodbye.
No, when you go to edit it.
And then the outro music. So it's all in this one file, and this one file is what you're going to upload to your host site. There was one more thing that I wanted to say. Okay. The last thing I wanted to say was when you are doing all of this, it says here, I don't know if you can see where the cursor is. When I put it up here, it says quick play enabled. And that means anywhere I click, it's going to start playing. So if I click here, it's going to start playing here. You can pause it from here, but if you press play, it's going to start back from the last spot that you were, unless you have this. If you highlighted something, it will play the highlighted portion. And if you click over here, press pause and then press play, it will still play the highlighted portion. So that kind of got me a couple times. You have to remember to click out of the highlighted portion. If you click here, it's not going to go to the spot you were at. It'll start at the spot that you're at now. So if you highlight something and press play, the quick play happens. If you just click anywhere up here, then the quick play starts wherever you click. Stopping gets rid of where your click play was. So if you're trying to remember your spot, don't press stop, press pause. And then also, if you are highlighting and then playing over here, you can press pause and then press pause again to keep it there instead of going back to the highlighted section. So I'm going to press pause again, and it's going to stay where I was already listening. So sometimes I highlight a section because I'm like, okay, I know that I want to take this part out, but let me see what else is happening. Maybe I want to take a bigger section out, and I'll, continue listening till it gets to here, pause it because my kids are doing something crazy, and then have to press play again. And if I press play again, it brings me all the way back over here, and I have to keep listening. So that pause, unpause button is very helpful. That's kind of all I can think of to share at this time. If anyone else has any more questions about Audacity or about starting a podcast, let me know. Hopefully this video was helpful. I know it's super unprofessional and not great quality. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster. I'm not used to making videos, but I just wanted to allow some of my friends who keep asking me questions about how to start a podcast to see what I'm actually talking about. It's kind of hard to explain through text messages or voice messages, so I just wanted to show it to them. So yeah, hopefully this helps.